Welcome back, everybody. And you've seen some spectacular images that I've taken over the last few nights, and I've spread the videos out over the course of a week or two now. It takes a little bit of time to edit all of these, right? So I have to space them out accordingly. But tonight, it's going to be clear again tonight. We have tomorrow night. We have clear skies tonight. Tomorrow, also supposed to be clear. So we're going to spend 2 nights. Tomorrow's supposed to be really nice, but I want to try to get as much data as I can on this particular target. Now, I shot this target last year when I had my surgery on my arm, and I was using a 4-inch APO triplet. We've done Andromeda. We have done the Elephant's Trunk Nebula. We have done the Cosmic Face, right? The Phantom of the Opera Nebula, which that one was the unique one with HARGB. We did all broadband with some hydrogen mixed in with Andromeda, which is what you see within that nebulosity. But then we did straight SHO, or Sulfur-Hydrogen-Oxygen, for the Elephant's Trunk. Now, if you're new to doing this, when someone says SHO, what they're referring to is what color channel that element is being associated to. So RGB is the order in which you're going to have your colors, right? Red, blue, and green, RGB. So when I say SHO, I'm saying sulfur is going to be red, hydrogen, or H, is going to be green, and O is going to be blue, or oxygen. So when I say HOO, that's going to be hydrogen, oxygen, oxygen as R, G, and B, right? So it's just the palette in which you're using to get your colors. Tonight, we are going to do SHO, but because we're going to get hydrogen and oxygen, we can make 2 images out of this, right? I can do an SHO and an HOO of the Pacman Nebula, otherwise known as NGC 281. So with those other videos, I did kind of long videos, 8 to 10 minutes, and I really discussed a lot of other aspects, both about my life, but also about doing this hobby. Tonight, I'm going to keep it a little bit short. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the Pacman Nebula. We're using the Newtonian again. The big announcement is, after this particular target, I am going to flip back to the APO triplet, or the Explorer Scientific 127. It is a carbon fiber telescope. The biggest difference between that telescope and this telescope is this one relies on mirrors, which I've told you, you have to collimate any telescope with mirrors. And in this case, this Newtonian has to be collimated every single evening. With something like an RC or a Ritchie Cretian, there's so many variations. I don't know what the proper one is, so I just call it an RC. An RC can typically go months without needing to be collimated, but it's also got stronger set screws that really hold the primary in place, and most of the time you're only going to make adjustments to the secondary. It's going to be pretty rare that you need to make a big adjustment to that primary mirror when it's pretty much locked in where it's at. These have to be done every single night. So what's special about the Pacman Nebula? So I did it with my triplet last year, and I loved the results. What I'm hoping to get tonight is a little bit more clarity and definition within some of those lanes of gas and dust. With a larger aperture, I should be able to acquire more light, and more light typically means more details. Doesn't always, right? Your skies are going to dictate what you can see. If I'm trying to look through a film of clouds, it's going to distort any light, and therefore my details are going to be pretty blurry. So I am hopeful that these high clouds do move out of here. I am going to go ahead and shoot regardless, because sometimes, even if it's just a real thin layer, you can still get okay data. I don't really like to use that data, but if I get to the point where I just need data to build in my color image and then only stack the good data just to build my luminance layer, I can do that, and you can too. The Pacman Nebula is an emission nebula. It does have a star-forming region in it. It has its own star cluster that is inside of it. It's also going to be in the constellation of Cassiopeia, which is going to be to our north. This particular nebula is associated to the open star cluster IC 1590. Now, the distance to this particular nebula is right about 9,200 light years away from Earth. So it's still relatively close, but it is a little bit farther away at the same time, right? It's relatively close in the grand scheme of things, but it is a little bit further, so it will appear a little bit smaller, even for 1,000 millimeters of focal length. This nebula also gets its name from the classic video game Pac-Man. And it looks just like the video game character as it's opening its mouth to consume objects. So your first question you might have is, why in the world is there a baby car seat sitting on your back porch? And that's actually a really simple one to answer. We took the baby to the pediatrician today because we felt he might still have lingering effects of an ear infection that he had when he had his RSV. As I picked him up out of his car seat, I felt something wet. Now, for those of you that are parents, you might already have an idea of what I was touching. And let's just say it wasn't pee. Yeah, that's right. He had a major blowout. We went through so many wipes, and it was all over his car seat. It was all over him. And coincidentally, it was all over me as we're going in to see the doctor. With that, if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for staying along with us. Definitely let me know if there's something that you have questions about that I've spoken on in this session or any other session. And likewise, thank you so much for all of the returning subscribers. I appreciate all of you taking the time to subscribe and follow me. Thank you so much for coming back, and I hope you enjoy the image.